Everybody benefits off our fight. We got to stop being the spokesperson, the spoke group of people who we sacrifice ourselves for them to benefit. And when they get it, they don't know you. And for the love of God, can y'all stop saying that Donald Trump is dividing people of colors? That is bullshit. We've been divided before Donald Trump even ran for office. Stop using that as a scapegoat and as an excuse. We've been divided. And the mere fact that you're saying that we're divided, you knew that we were divided before then, but you're just now saying something now because it affects you. And miss me with the comments, you next. No, we first. You think we scared? We first. That's all I had to say, y'all. Black people, we got to stop doing that. We got to stop sacrificing ourselves for everybody else to have the benefit of it, because they do not reciprocate that energy for us.
We voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down. But it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people.
Like, I was all for fucking Trump, dude. I was all for Trump. And then hearing this whole fucking thing of like...
Hello, brothers and sisters. I hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, we are seeing a large number of Latinos regretting their vote for Donald Trump. And they're crying out to black people to do a coalition bidding with them so that they unite and fight back the oppression that is happening to them. Now, black folks are not taking this easily and lightly, because they are going after them and commenting and saying that they are on their own. And they have been having their own wars and no one supported them. So let's watch this video, then have a quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
Make one thing very, very, very clear. We are going to do everything in our power to make sure Kamala Harris doesn't win. Vote for, if you want Donald Trump to win, say that. Bitch, I will vote for Satan if I have to. Remember, no one's free until we're all free. And we can't protect ourselves if we can't protect each other. This is the time for all the minorities, all the movements, all the working class to come together and really build power and really fight against the fascism that's been here, but finally popping its head out and being loud and proud about it. And unless we do something, really come together, it's gonna get real bad.
So yes, I have my kid's dad on child support, okay? I get $200 a month for both of them, okay? What is $200 going to do in California? Nothing, but it is what it is. I don't care. It's something. It's like something for me to take the boys out and do something fun, since I can't do it on my own. Now, with Trump passing the law that if your kid's on if you put your baby dad on child support, they're going to be getting the money from the child, like for child tax. How the fuck does that work? How does that work, dude? I'm literally the one that takes care of them 24/7, have for the past 10 years. How can he file and get all the fucking money when I'm the one taking care of them? He's been MIA for like 7 months. What?
I love this for you. I do. I love this for you so much. Because we fucking told you so. What makes you think a man with 5 kids by 3 different women cares about women? When black women were telling you, don't vote for this man because it's going to hurt y'all, You didn't listen. You took your ass down to the voting booth and said, I'm going to vote for this man. And now that's by you in the ass, you on this app crying. But we told you so. I have a theory that will help women in your situation. But good luck with that.
So you were all in for Trump, okay? The man who tried to overturn democracy, the man who is a convicted felon, the man who was found liable for rape, the man who has made it clear that he sees women as nothing more than objects, the man who has caused so much division and hate in this country and encourages hate crimes against black people, brown people, LGBTQ people, Asian people, just anybody who isn't a straight white Christian male. But you was all in with him for that. The man who sent a mob to the Capitol to hang his own vice president. The man who then decided to pardon those people, who decided to pardon people who belong to supremacist groups. You was still all in. None of that was a deal breaker for you. But now you're on here crying, like literally crying. Y'all gotta go watch that video. Crying about him saying if you get child support, the parent who pays child support gets to file the taxes on the kids. You're crying over earned income credit and child tax credit. You didn't give a crap about anybody else's life and what other people were being put through under the Trump administration. You didn't give a crap. But now you care over a tax credit. This is why I can't never come together with y'all. This is why I can't never put aside differences and work with you guys. Because this isn't politics. This is about humanity. And people like you have no humanity whatsoever. All you care about is yourself. If it doesn't affect you, you don't give a crap. And with that being said, I hope you owe taxes every single year.
And this is what we call reaching personal rock bottoms via what you wrongly believed or were taught. We're going to see a whole lot more people from both of the political party supporters, red and blue, going through the same journey. And just like someone who is in recovery for drug or alcohol addiction, you owe a lot of people apologies too. Then once you do all your apology tour, it's time to get on the actual progressive and make this FASCIST machine stop train. Well, assuming that we even can at this point anymore, because of all the people who have been BRAIN washed into a cognitive dissonance and still are. Welcome to reality. It sucks here.
I feel really bad. Is something I would say if we didn't fucking warn you for the last 9 years? Really? You said you were down with Trump. You were all for Trump, right? You're all for him. The racism didn't matter. You're all for Trump. With the racism, right? With the misogyny, with taking away women's rights, you were all for Trump. With the way he mishandled the pandemic, you were all for Trump. With ripping kids away from their parents and putting them in cages, you were all for Trump. With hate crimes on the rise, you were all for Trump. With all the lies, with running up the debt $8 trillion, with raising the taxes, you were all for Trump. But now, you have a problem. Not even a week into office, now you're in the find out stage. Now you care because it affects you finally. So all the shit he's hurt, all the people he's hurt before, that wasn't a deal breaker for you. All the fucking crimes. I mean, if only you had like a phone or something you can get information from, you can actually learn from, I don't know, maybe a cell phone or something. If only you had access to information like we all did, right? If only you paid fucking attention for the 4 years he was in office when he fucked up absolutely everything. How do you see all that shit and not learn and vote for him again? Be all in for Trump again. How do you fucking do that? What are you doing now? Are you playing the victim? Are you looking for sympathy? Is that what you're looking for? Sympathy? Seriously? Let me tell you something. You got screwed with your taxes and you'd be paying more at the end of the year. You got off easy. You got off easy and you're practically in tears. You got off easy. Think of all the millions of people who are going to get screwed way harder than you did because of Trump. Okay, you're in the find out stage, and the whole country is going to be very soon. You just don't get it now. And now you want sympathy? Are you looking for sympathy? You're cool with other people being fucked over, right? Because it didn't affect me. Why should I care? But now it's coming around to you, right? Well, just wait, because you're going to find out even more. If you're looking for sympathy or you want people to feel bad, you have to earn that shit. You have to earn it. We've been fucking trying to warn you for 9 years. And now you have to put in work to be accepted. You need to do your time. You need to pay your debt to society. Your vote, even though it's just one vote, fucked everybody, because there's so many people who thought just like you. You're guilty, all right? Now you have to pay your debt to society. You need to do your work, the same job that I did and everyone else did trying to warn people. You need to be vocal, and you need to speak out if you want some sympathy, if you want to be accepted by people. You have to put in the work. You have to put in your time and say, hey, Trump fucked me over here. You have to let the world know that he fucked people, unless you're still going to back him up. Unless you still plan, something tells me you still ain't gonna do shit. You'd vote for him again. Something tells me. Prove me wrong and do the right thing.
I know, honey. I know. Get up on Mama's lap. Let me tell you a story. I know you fucked with Orange Man. But on that November day, you gave consent for him to turn you every way but loose, girl. You are now officially married to that man. And you will now start reaping the benefits of being married to that daddy of yours. Who's your daddy? Who's your baby? Now listen, I'm trying to come to you like a mama. Okay, listen. You gave him consent on that November day. And you will pay the price with your body, your mind, your heart, and your soul. And with your children as well. Now, as I'm getting ready to go to bed, one last word of advice for Mama. Make sure you smile when you bend over. They like that.
Watch the video. This isn't an I told you so. I'm going to be a little different with you. As a father of all daughters who has paid child support and who has been the recipient, you know, the payer and the payee, if he's only paying $200 a month for 2 kids, there's an issue there, even in California. In Michigan, we call it the friend of the court, and I'm sure there's resources there to help you do a child support review. Now, with that said, we'll get to the Trump thing in a minute. What you believe about Trump and that law you're saying, it's not true. In order for him to claim your children on his federal tax return, he would have to have provided full-time more than 6 months of care. And child support is not considered, 6 months of care. Essentially saying that the children live with him for more than 6 months out of the year. Now, this is what we mean when we say easily manipulated. Just because you saw a headline, possibly, or seen a video about it, doesn't mean it's true. That's why some of us over here have worked hard to build platforms based on trust and integrity, like myself. But then we end up, losing those platforms because, Trumpers, they don't want the truth out there. All Donald Trump is to the, Joe Rogan podcast, the new shiny toy boys. Yep, that's all he is. Without understanding, the consequences. Some of them do and they just don't care, but I believe many of them don't. When you understand and you fully comprehend that everything that is done in Washington, D.C. affects every single person in one way, shape, or form, good or bad in this country, then you have a realization that, well, I better do some real homework. I don't know you. You're a mom. I hope you're a good mom. I hope you take care of your kids well. I think your ex or whatever should be paying for 2 kids, right? Was that it? Quite a bit more than $200 a month, and I think you should look for the resources to get the help to have a review to make him pay more. As far as Donald Trump, what you did is you voted against your own interest as a woman, number one. And I don't know, I haven't watched any of your other videos, whether you believe the fact that he was found liable of sexual assault Yeah, and the judge described that as, yes, that is rape. Sexual assault is rape, so therefore there's a rapist in the White House. And yes, he was convicted of 34 different felonies, so he's also a convicted felon in the White House who doesn't care about anything but himself. He doesn't care about what happens to you or your kids. And if you're on Medicaid, there's a very good chance you may lose it, because part of the next budget coming out from the Trump administration are massive cuts to Medicaid. So I'd like you to, okay, how come when Democrats put out budgets, they manage to lower the deficits? Deficits being, how do I explain it? I hope you understand what a deficit is. If you don't know what a deficit is, look it up. They managed to lower the deficits without cutting necessary programs like Medicaid and SNAP benefits. The last time Donald Trump was president, what he did was lower the threshold for the federal qualifications for SNAP benefits and then claimed he got millions off food stamps. Well, that's not true, because millions would have otherwise qualified for food stamps had he not lowered the threshold and changed the rules. I encourage you to start watching people with more of a level head. You know, maybe a little bit older, just hear what they have to say. And sure, be questionable. Because I can tell you that almost every single Fox News article or OAN or Newsmax article, whatever right-wing propaganda you want to throw at me, I will rip it apart, piece by piece. So here's the facts. Bill Clinton handed a balanced budget to George Bush, who then spent trillions and trillions of dollars on a war because there was weapons of mass destruction. But before that, he said we were going to get the people who attacked us on 9/11, but for some reason we went into Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction that we now know was a fucking lie, that we stayed there for 20 years. Barack Obama comes in, takes that national deficit, cuts it in half, helps the programs for the people of this country that actually need it. Donald Trump is elected, new shiny toy. He doubles that national deficit from where he inherited it from Barack Obama. Pre-COVID, before COVID even hit, before COVID was even a thought, he had already doubled it. Republicans fuck the economy up, and Democrats have to fix it. Period. I hope you learned something. Have a good day.
Then hearing this whole
So because of a new Trump order, since you receive child support from your baby daddy, you can no longer file your children as dependents on your taxes. And actually, that baby daddy who's been MIA for the past 7 months, he gets that money. As a trans woman who has been begging everybody for the past year to not vote for Trump, these are my words of comfort.
So they got all three parties, right? They got all three branches. And yet in the Republican budget, you know what ain't in there? The cut for overtime tax, the cut for Social Security tax, and the cut for tip tax. Y'all got fucking played like everyone said you were. Pay fucking attention, God. Because there is $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, but you know where it goes? 83% of it is going to go to the 0.1% of Americans. That's right. Your taxes. The reason they cut your child's education, the reason they're cutting Medicaid, doing all this bullshit, is just so they can line their fucking pockets. You got played, and your kids are gonna pay the cost of your arrogance and your fucking ignorance.
So blacks for Trump are called blacks for Trump. Latinos for Trump are called Latinos for Trump. Muslims for Trump are called Muslims for Trump. White people for Trump are called MAGA.
Just in case I haven't made it clear enough, if you still support President Musk and the First Lady Donald Trump and Special Government Intern J.D. Vance, you're actual f***ing vermin.
To all of you who are blaming us Arabs for Kamala losing, I'll tell you this. Kamala had everything already. All she had to do was stop sending billions of dollars to a foreign country. All she had to do was listen to the people, and she refused to do so. She shut down her voices time and time again. What did you think was going to happen? She's a grown woman. She made her choice, and she dug her own grave, and that's it. It has nothing to do with us. Particularly Palestinian voices were even talking about not endorsing the red and blue parties. And what do? Some of you? You vote for the parties that are hurting them in the first place. Did Palestine teach you nothing? Or do you just not care about them?
Like, I was all for fucking Trump, dude. I was all for Trump. And then hearing this whole fucking thing of like...
with Trump-style policies today. After 1,600 comments, let's look at the top countries they named. Let's grade these countries by economic performance, personal freedom, and overall prosperity for their citizens. Number 3 on their list is Hungary. As of this year, they're ranked 42 in overall prosperity, whereas Biden has the United States at number 19. Did you know since Viktor Orban was elected president, they've had half the GDP growth rate of the average EU country? After COVID, inflation hit 25%. It was 8% at the same time under Biden. Hungary has already had a second recession since COVID. At the same time, Orban took everybody's private retirement accounts and put them into a national fund. He also nationalized the press, and they have the strictest laws in all of the EU. Trump-type policies? Absolutely. Thriving? Not even close. Second on their list, Argentina. I had to do a double take, but it was Argentina. Ranked 58th in overall prosperity. In 2023, Argentina had 211% inflation. From 2017 to 2020, Argentina's economy shrunk 40%. That's 10 points worse than the Great Depression for the United States. 57% of people in Argentina live below the poverty line. The short version is that about 100 years ago, they were one of the most powerful countries in the world, but then a populist authoritarian leader took over, suspended the Constitution, suspended the rule of law, and made the Supreme Court obey the president. Sound familiar? Now they've fallen from a global powerhouse to just another struggling developing nation. This is my absolute favorite. Number 1 on their list, Poland. Finally, they found a thriving country. It's an EU member, they're a developed nation, they have solid GDP growth, incredibly low unemployment, and a very happy population. There's just one problem though. They're more socialist than Bernie Sanders. Poland has free healthcare for everybody, free university for everybody, and you can even get your PhD for free. And to own a gun in Poland, you have to pass a written exam, a medical exam, a practical exam, and prove you're not an alcoholic or a drug addict. And if you're ever convicted of domestic abuse, they take your away. Less than 1% of Polish citizens are armed. But unsurprisingly, it's resulted in a safety and security rating 14 spots higher than the United States. So yeah, Poland is thriving. But it's not because of Trump-style policies. It's directly in spite of them. This is why we can't have serious conversations with MAGA Republicans. If you don't understand what is happening in the world, you don't have a right to have an opinion on it. The other countries that were named by MAGA Republicans as thriving with Trump-style policies include Canada, Italy, Germany, South Korea, Australia. Hundreds and hundreds of MAGA Republicans named countries that would be called socialist by Donald Trump. Frankly, it's amazing that our country exists at all when half of the country is this horrifically informed.
This video is for the white women crashing out because Kamala Harris posted a picture of she and Doug on Valentine's Day, and oh, you were outraged. We don't have time for Valentine's. We have to fight fascism. Where are you? Why aren't you standing up? Why aren't you leading the charge? Why? We demand that you show up. She did. You didn't. The data doesn't lie. She showed up. She fought. She sacrificed. But you did not. And I have news for y'all. The day of you benefiting off of black women's labor is over. The 92%, they are resting. As they should. They have done the work of civil rights and equal rights for the entirety of this country's history. And you have stood back in your privilege and benefited when you could have used your privilege to push ahead civil rights and equal rights. But instead, you let them be beat, you let them be killed, and you just siphoned out the benefits from their labor. That day is over. So let me say to all the Nancy Grahams and every Patty Mayonnaise who's crashing out over Kamala Harris having her due rest, her due joy, her due good food eaten because she lost so much weight because she was giving everything during that election, getting her due love from Doug, being with her family, having her due rest, as is the rest of the 92%. Let me say this to you all, Patty Mayonnaise. Let me say this to you, Nancy Graham. Let me say this. If you want a new bonnet in this season, you're gonna have to go pick the cotton yourself in the field. Let me just snatch that whip out of your metaphoric hand. Black people are not your property. Black women do not owe you their labor. It is your turn, far past your turn, to get out there and do the work yourself. And not just for you, also for them. It's our turn to create a safe place. It's our turn to put our bodies in the line. It's our turn to go to the streets. It's our turn to mobilize. It's our turn to organize. It's our turn. And don't let me catch you posting that crap, calling out Kamala. You keep her name out of your mouth. Sick of y'all. Sick of it. Sick of it.
So we went from he's going to fix the economy and he's going to bring down the price of groceries and the cost of living, and he's going to get rid of taxes on overtime income and tip income, to he's going to run up the deficit, he's going to buy $500 million in Cybertrucks, he's going to get rid of Medicaid, or Medicare was it? I don't want to misspeak. He's going to try to privatize or destroy Social Security. He's going to give more tax breaks to billionaires, and he's raising taxes on the low and middle income earners in this country. And at no point will any Trump supporter ever admit that they were stupid, because they are stupid. They will somehow continue to move the goalpost. You voted for a moron because you're a moron. And rather than admit that you got played,
the 47% of white women that voted for Kamala Harris, bring your ass, because you fucking docket today. And because I already know how you operate, let's get some church announcements out the way. 1, when faced with uncomfortable truths, a true ally will accept the information rather than react to it. 2, if it don't apply, let it the fuck fly. In other words, don't bring your sensitive asses in my comments telling me how your best friend is black and giving me a laundry list of things you've done to help the black community. This is me preemptively telling you I don't give a. 3rd, as far as my content is concerned, the feelings of white people, particularly white women, would never be centered nor considered. So if you're white and you follow me and what I'm about to say offends you, there's no need to announce your disappointment nor your departure. You can simply get out. Now let's get down to business. 47% are particularly the ones that go above and beyond to tell black people, but black women in particular, that you're a part of the 47%. It's not that you do it because of your love, support, and solidarity of black women. It's about your image, because you need to be on record as being part of the 47%. So you're not perceived to be a part of the 53% because it's MAGA. Because for whatever reason, you seem to think that you're better white women than they are. And newsflash, you aren't. Now, while you may not subscribe to and or believe in their racist beliefs and ideologies, as white women on a daily basis, you still benefit and profit from said racist beliefs and ideologies, nothing less. Another thing is that it's not lost, and it's not lost on me, and it's definitely not lost on white women. No generation of white people, especially white women, have ended white supremacy. Now, the only thing to do to end white supremacy in this country is to dismantle it and relinquish your white privilege. 2 things that are a bridge too far for you, especially the last, which is why you'll change the name of a school, you'll change the name of a sports team, you'll take down statues, you'll volunteer in the very neighborhoods that you're gentrifying and pushing my people out of just to assuage your white guilt. You will do everything but give up that white privilege. White people are inherently mediocre. You just have to work not to be. And that's a topic for another time, but trust and believe I will be fuck that. And it is because of your white mediocrity, which is why you require so much of black women that you'll never require of yourself, because you bitches can't deliver. White women are the only people on the face of this fuck earth that will betray you and then demand that you make them feel better about doing it. You don't have to tell me I'm wrong, because I already know I'm right, because you do it all the time. And it's because of your white mediocrity that you don't mind being supported by black women. You want to be supported and defended by black women, but you don't want to be led by black women. Because in order for you to be led by black women, you have to, one, acknowledge your shortcomings, and two, forego being the center of attention. And considering the fact that you was born with main character syndrome, that's a fuck hoes can't fuck it. But what really bothers me is you white bitches that are all about, where's Kamala? I mean, we need her. She should be working. So you want a black woman to do a job that you didn't elect her for. Because see, what you want is you want your individual vote counted, but you don't want the collective one to be counted. And it's the collective vote that making decisions. And as a collective, you once again voted for your whiteness. Because one thing about you white women, you talk the talk, but when it's time to walk the walk, you walk your ass right on over there to whites only. And this election is no different. And you don't want your ashy and crusty ass heels to be held to the fire about that shit. You want to act like it didn't exist. And what pisses me off is that when Hillary Clinton lost, you on a pink hat, you did your little farts, you went to Starbucks and you called the day. You let that white lady lose in peace. You let her go take a...
Now, I've been seeing a lot of black folks on TikTok reacting to videos of Latinos trying to call them out for a coalition building and something like to unite with them and work together. Now, something that I know, this is really not a great timing. It's not really a good time to do this, because why, when you have the problem and call out for help, and when someone else was calling out for help from you, you didn't show up? That's the question African diasporans and Black Americans have been asking, and mostly the FBS, Foundational Black Americans, have been asking this question. Where were the Latinos when we were actually demonstrating, staging demonstrations for the peaceful Black Lives Matter movement? Where were they when Floyd was killed? Where were they? And so many questions are arising because Black people in the US and so many other parts in the Western countries have been lonely in their fight or in their fight for the oppression that they have been facing. You can agree with me that the oppression Black people have been facing, the economic disparities and all these atrocities that have been caused by many other groups to them, that it has existed for years, 300, 400 years. And most Black folks were born and raised in oppression, that they went to school, but they were being discriminated. That even at your job place, someone still looks down upon you because of your skin color. Someone wants to judge you because you don't belong to their race. And it has gone for a long time that even the Black people, the Black folks are adapted to this. They are used to this, by the way, to the harsh environment. And it is the fact that no one came to their aid. No one helped them. And this is why they are reciprocating the same. They are trying to retaliate, because if we were having problems, we've been having movements, you people never showed up. You never came to help us when our rights were being violated, when our rights were stripped off. You never came to our aid. What makes you think that this is the best time for you to come and ask for coalition building with us just because you have a problem? Now, you can all remember that the Latinos are believed to have voted for Donald Trump largely, and you saw in the campaign trails how they used to sing. It's not a bad thing. I'm not here to support Donald Trump or to criticize Donald Trump or to support Kamala Harris. I'm not a voter in the US. But the fact that someone is crying out barely a month after their candidate was sworn in, it is a facade. Like, it is not something that everyone expects. And this is why other black folks are saying you still have 300 you still have 3 years and 10 months to cry. And so it means if you have started crying out now, you are going to cry out for the rest of these other days. But the big question today is, why are not these groups uniting? Why haven't we seen the unity between black folks and the Latinos? Who is on the wrong side? Who has the whiteness ego? Now, I've been seeing clips circulating around on the internet saying that some of the Latinos are feeling like they are white people. So they want to attain the white proximity and the white privileges. So they went maybe voted for Donald Trump thinking that he will spare them and they will be treated special as white people. Now, that's not the problem. The problem is voting someone without reading their manifestos or something we call their policies. Every party, every political parties have always stood with some policies. And in most cases, we know that the Democratic Party has always been lenient in a way with the migrants, unlike the Republicans who believe in capitalism, who have always put the interest of the US at large. So in this case, they always go for things that benefit their own country, not any other country, unlike Democrats. And this is the main challenge. When Latinos maybe were voting for Donald Trump, most of them rooted for maybe good investments, for jobs and all that stuff. But it is a shock to them that they are losing the jobs that they were having, that they are living in fear, that some of them have been deported, their friends, their families, their mothers and sisters and brothers and fathers have been deported. So they are still living in fear. Some of them do not even come out. You meet them online crying on whatever is happening by the ICE, that they are being hunted down and they want to be deported by force, by fire. So if these things are happening and they knew that in one way or the other I'm voting Donald Trump, but one of my family is not well documented, that my father is not well documented to live here. So it was a risk, by the way. It was a risk because Donald Trump has always stood to whatever he says sometimes. And most Americans voted Donald Trump because of the border thing and because of inflation and so many other stuff that they know to themselves. And when Latinos were going to vote for Donald Trump, they had in mind that deportation was coming, and he really promised mass deportation in the next few days after ascending to power. Now, they all were aware of this. The fact that they are crying out right now, it really doesn't sound well or sit well with a large number of black people. Now, I'm saying this and I'll still repeat this. If Latinos want a coalition building with African Americans or the foundational black Americans, they should have started way back, because black Americans have been facing these problems for the longest time. No one came to their aid. And I think this is the painful side of it that makes our black folks become so much mad when being asked for a coalition building of unity and all that stuff. Most black folks are saying it is your own war. He was your candidate. You campaigned and voted for him. Now, the FAFO thing starts. The lamentations have started and all this other stuff. My question and my big question today is, how many times are we going to see mistakes happening? How many times do you make the same mistakes? How many times are you crying? Are you going to cry for your mistake? And this takes me back to time when Socrates said that anyone who goes out to make decisions using their own emotions and personal experiences, in most cases they end up making the wrong decision. So if you go ahead because you are angry with someone, you don't want someone because of 1, 2, 3 reasons, and you feel like they should not be there for 1, 2, 3 reasons, you're gonna regret this. So I'm calling out on Latinos. I'm calling out on all Black Americans, brothers and sisters, to make sound decisions and to make decisions that you never regret. I know many decisions have been made and people are regretting, but it is okay to make decisions and regret, but not to regret the whole of your life. Because if this is just 1 month since Donald Trump was sworn in, it means there is still a long way. And are people going to cry out for all these 3 years or something? It is sometimes do not vote or do not make decisions to punish someone. Do not make decisions that will affect you, but you're making them because you're angry with someone else. So this is just a wake-up call for all who are watching this video that next time when making a decision, make very sober decisions. Stop making decisions out of emotions. Stop making decisions out of hatred or to someone else, a group of individuals, or to a political group. Thank you so much for having taken the time to watch this video. I appreciate so much. One love.